I am so thoroughly fed up with Christians coming into the comments of videos where I am rebuking, chastising, calling out the hypocrisy of the church and its idolatrous support of Donald Trump. You come into the comments and you make comments like this: Tom, God uses flawed people. Yes, I know that. We're all flawed. But then you often cite David as the example. But I don't think you really understand what you have just brought up. So let's go there. Yes, David was a man after God's own heart. David loved God with all his being. I don't know if you realize that there are 150 Psalms. Over half were written by David. Trump has never read a Psalm. David wrote half of them. But even with that did not prevent David from falling into some of the worst sin possible. The affair with Bathsheba, and then unaliving her husband, who was a very loyal subject, by the way, unaliving him in an effort to help cover it up. It doesn't get much worse than that. But God spared David the penalty of death. But he didn't spare David and the nation of Israel the other consequences of that sin, being flawed, in your words. The death of the child, conflict and strife within David's family and within the nation that would tear his family apart and would tear the nation apart, his family. David had many wives, one of them being Bathsheba. Having many wives, he had many children, many of them half-brothers and sisters to each other, right? You're following? One dad, same dad, David, different mothers. A brother and sister, Tamar and Absalom, had the same mother, Father David. Another woman had a child by David, and his name was Amnon. Amnon really liked Tamar, his half-sister, so much so that he essayed her. Her brother, Amnon's half-brother, Absalom, took issue with his sister being essayed by their half-brother, and he unalived the half-brother, Amnon. Within a few more years, he then revolted against David, causing a civil war. You're following, right? David's family, his children, essaying and unaliving each other, followed by a civil war started by one of his sons. The civil war was put down. His son was unalived in the process. Eventually, Solomon would succeed him, another son. And upon Solomon's death, his son, who succeeded him, now the fourth king of Israel, was unable to govern Israel well, and the country again fell into a civil war. So David's grandson lost the kingdom through his inability to govern, and the kingdom was divided into Israel and Judah. And for hundreds of years, they were often at war with each other, and often sometimes being attacked outside by third-party countries altogether, other men, kings that God was using to punish Israel, using flawed men. Yes, David was a flawed person that God used. But do you really want to lean on that example of David? The man whose flaws destroyed his family and destroyed the nation. God kept his promise to David of an eventual, through his lineage, heir, if you will, Jesus. But I don't think the rest of you guys want to go on the same ride that David's family and the nation of Israel went on as a result of David's flaws.